My name's Yale Miller, senior producer for Activision, working on Call of Duty Ghosts.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Busy day here, right?
Yeah.
Awesome day so far.
Yep.
Today is all about multiplayer. We've seen the game before. We're all looking forward to it. November to remember, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you some things. What are you most excited about with this new game?
I think I'm probably most excited about just, the new animation system for MP, like just talking multiplayer today.
Correct.
The new animation system, like, it makes a huge difference. It seems small, but it's just like things like the weight of the weapon, just how you kind of move through the world, the knee slide and the mantle, they all seem like okay features, but when you put them all together, it really changes how it feels when you move through, and it still feels absolutely fluid in Call of Duty, but it feels better than it's ever felt before. So for me, when I'm in match, there's obviously a ton of new weapons and new perk systems and new systems over the top and new modes, but just while I'm running through and I'm getting the drop on someone, or I'm trying to evade, or I'm kind of coming into an objective, just how you're moving through the world, it's awesome.
Okay. Now you're mentioning kind of like I guess you could say it's more of a natural transition. It's like more organic instead of just feeling like it's something that's tacked on or something that's just placed into the game.
Yeah. So with all those animations, it's smoother. So instead of going up to a piece of cover, kind of grabbing it, kind of lifting yourself up over it, like that, you're just boom, you're around it.
Where everything's like, it's no longer like a process; it's just more of a natural.
Yeah, it's just boom, and you're through it. So it feels smoother, and then just things like knee slide transitions with that. It's like when you knee slide into something, you can either continue to hold B and you'll kind of go down into prone perfectly smooth, or you can slide in and be in crouch and taking enemies out, or you can boom, just click your stick and you're sprinting out of it. So it's awesome because it allows you to transition between all these different animation states, and it just allows for kind of flexibility. So it doesn't matter what situation you're going into, you can knee slide into it and figure a way to get out of it. It's fast, it's fun, it's fluid. It's still running at 60, so it feels great.
Sweet. So is there any type of feature that you wanted to see in the game that kind of had to get scrapped or held up or anything like that?
I think there's always stuff that gets talked about early on that you're like, hey, this would be really cool, we're going to do this, it's going to be awesome. But then, it's something that I've got to tip my hat to IW for, is that they're just adamant. If it doesn't pan out to be everything that it should and everything that you expect it to be, it gets cut. So whether it's some people like with death streaks or with whatever it may be, it's like some people like things, some people don't like things, and we're going to improve them this way and improve things that way. It's just, if it's not good enough, and we listen to the community, listen to the own guys at Infinity Ward and everything that those guys, and all the knowledge that those guys have, and just play testing, user testing, and if it's not fun, it gets cut.
So it sounds like there's a pretty hefty process involved in seeing what makes the cut. Like,
absolutely. Everything gets played a lot.
So there's a few different scenarios of ghosts floating around, possibly. Like,
yeah, no, there's many maps on the cutting room floor, we're talking MP today, so there's iteration after iteration and maps that goes a long way and a lot of work goes into it and it gets scrapped completely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You guys should do a lost map pack.
No, they would never do that because they didn't make the cut. They didn't make the cut.
In terms of maps, speaking of that, let's talk about the unique features that come with it, because I noticed during the presentation, they were showing it's not just so much remembering the maps and remembering how the maps are, where things are located, remembering points and things of that nature. Yep. It's how the maps work and how they respond to things. Could you touch on that a little more? Yeah,
there's a ton of dynamic elements in the maps. So some of them are really huge and change the entire map. Other things are small, player-triggered things, and then there's all kinds of variations in between. But things like going up to a wall and you're hiding behind it, and enemies are on the other side, and you don't have a good line of sight. You could actually blow part of the wall to then get your line of sight and get the drop on someone. To when a match starts, there might be a care package hidden in a container that you actually have to blow to put C4 on it, take it out, and kind of move on. There's all kinds of different things, whether it's taking out a gas station, setting a trap. There's all kinds of things that are built into each map that, again, with those, it's like the idea is, we wanted to have dynamic elements, but there's times in maps where there are lots of dynamic elements, but if they don't work, they don't fit the map, and they don't make the map better and more fun to play, they get cut. So there's huge things that really worked out. There's some smaller things that worked out. There's medium things, but then there's lots of other things that have been tried and don't necessarily make for a better multiplayer game.
So in terms of like interactive environments, because I noticed you talked about blowing up a wall, and getting rid of cover, or destroying things to find and locate things, like hidden, I guess you could say hidden weapons and hidden aids.
Yeah.
In terms of interactive and destructible environments, is there like a percentage to that? Like, would you say the world is completely destructible?
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, the world is not completely destructible. So there's interactive elements in each. As far as like a percentage, I have no idea. But in each map, there's definitely small things and big things, and sometimes huge things that you can find and you can trigger as a player. Sometimes they're environmental, they trigger. And there's basically elements, like just making everything completely destructible doesn't necessarily make for a better Call of Duty map, right? So working on, and the guys in Infinity Ward just like, again, going through like, does this make it better? Does this make it better? Does this make it better? And if it does, it stays, and if it doesn't, it goes. So there's some maps that have very few, and some maps that have massive and lots,
So are these going to be like hidden things that players want to discover throughout, just kind of by trial and error? Like, hey,
some of them are going to be by trial and error. Some of them are going to be there's kind of, for instance, in Octane, there's a wall that you can take out, and it has a little ghost mask on it, like stenciled on it, that gives you a hint that it's there.
So there's little cues here and there.
There's little cues here and there, and you'll see them. It's going to be, we want people to discover them. We want people to use them, and it's going to be about how people figure out how to use them to their advantage.
Okay, so we talked about the environments, we talked about the what ifs. Now, another big thing that I noticed during the presentation is character customization, to where they reference something to the effect of around maybe 20,000 different combinations. If I'm correct, you can correct me on that.
No, that's right.
But that was the number that stood out. It's a massive number.
Yeah.
I guess you guys are going for the flexible route to let people really customize their soldier. There's also female soldiers. I've noticed that.
Yeah.
So you're trying. Bet you guys got that request a lot over the.
Yeah. I think it just made sense. There's women in combat. It doesn't make any sense why they shouldn't be in Call of Duty, right?
Absolutely.
I think the big thing on customization is, Infinity Ward looks at customization as much more than just your appearance. So obviously the appearance, when people hear customization, they think about appearance, but customization to them is really about making your whole soldier, which really starts with like your perks, your weapons, your attachments, your kill streaks, and then your appearance after that, because there's a whole new system around perks. There's over 35 perks, and you can actually have up to 8 points that you can actually spend on different perks, that you can kind of fill out your perk slots, and it's much more flexible than it's ever been, because you can take perks all from the same kind of category. In the past, there's been like, you can take 1 or 2 from this row, 1 or 2 from this row, 1 or 2 from this row, right? And now there's just a lot more flexibility. You have the ability to forsake like your secondary, lethal, tactical, and that'll actually give you extra perks. And then you can use those however you want, and that's one of the cool things is you can use those however you want. And that's even goes to like customizing not only the look of your characters, but then even how your prestige goes, because you actually can choose what to unlock when you want to unlock it. Because everything's available, like weapons, all the weapons are available from the start, but you actually can choose, because you earn squad points based on XP. So you actually can choose like, hey, I want to unlock this weapon first. And maybe on my prestige, I choose I want to unlock this weapon first, because it's basically based on how many points you have to spend on it. So you can, you can customize even how, not only your character, all those things, but even how you prestige.
Okay, so let's get a little personal here. Now you mentioned different weapons. You mentioned new kill streaks and things to that effect. Let's talk favorites. You have a favorite kill streak, and what makes it so special to you?
I love the new SATCOM. I just love it. Like, it seems simple, but I think one of the reasons I love it is it's stackable. So,
and for those who don't know, because this is new material,
right?
Could you kind of describe that a little bit? Like,
Yeah. No. I'll explain. So, SATCOM is basically what used to be UAV, right? So, UAV, you fire it, you set it off. UAV would be flying over the top. Everyone would be looking around for the UAV, looking up, and Infinity Ward did a great job of like looking at that and like saying, we want people on the map, moving around, looking and getting engagements. So they actually took the idea of putting a SATCOM on the ground. When you throw your first SATCOM, so let's say I'm on a team with you and me are on a team. I throw a SATCOM. If you see an enemy and I see a different enemy, they're going to show up on the mini map. So it basically gives you eyes on. So it doesn't work like a normal UAV. The first SATCOM gives you eyes on, which means that if anyone on your team is looking at an enemy or sees an enemy on their screen, they'll show up on the mini map. The second SATCOM gives you regular UAV. So just that sweeping UAV that everyone knows, right? Where the ping's on the map. Third UAV makes the ping faster, so it makes that sweep go faster. And the fourth actually gives advanced UAV directional. So it's crazy because like there's strategy to like where you're going to hide them, what you're going to do. The fact that you don't need to equip. Someone's like, oh, I guess I'll be the guy who's going to take the Stinger to take out, SATCOMs, right? Like there's definitely different air support things that you want to be able to take out. So it's great to have RPGs and such, but. Especially because UAV is super powerful, and UAVs were so common as far as regular UAV. Everyone would be rolling, something that hides them from UAVs. So it just changes. It seems like a subtle thing, but it changes so many other little things that like, oh, how am I going to do my loadout? How am I going to? Well, if they're doing that, then I'm going to have to change my loadout and this and that. And it's just with all the kill streaks, they find ways of taking things that seems like, why would you ever change that? And they're like, just trust me, play this. All right, that's dope.
Now you're talking about loadouts. Mm-hmm. We're about to play a game. Mm-hmm. You're getting ready, you're gearing up. What's your loadout looking like?
My loadout right now, I'm probably gonna have to go Honey Badger. It's got a built-in, it's an AR, has a built-in silencer. Probably red dot extended mags. I don't know, maybe a Magnum. And then probably some perks I like going fast, so I'll probably take a bunch of perks to speed me up.
Okay.
And maybe throw in like something like Gambler in there, which is a perk that when you start, after each spawn you get a random perk, so it's kind of roll of the draw, luck of the draw. It's just fun to have because then you got it, right? It's like sometimes it's a really powerful perk, sometimes it's not. So
that's why it's called Gambler.
Yeah, and for me, I'd probably roll SATCOM, Riley. I'm not sure what I'd roll for my third. I don't know. I don't get that high that often. So
okay.
Nah.
Now, I know this. It's a new game coming up. A lot of people excited about it. It's an annual installment, and it sounds like you guys are taking certain measures to improve upon things. We talked about the look and feel, the dynamics of the game, but in terms of behind the scenes stuff, and people would kill me if I didn't ask this. Dedicated servers.
We're going to be talking a lot more about that stuff a little bit down the line.
Gamescom?
We'll be talking a lot more about this stuff a little bit down the line.
Okay, so we'll take that as a we'll hear about it later, hopefully. So, dedicated servers, maybe later. Call me maybe, or whatever that song is or whatever.
We will talk about it later.
If there was one element you can add to this game that you felt was just missing, like if you could add one thing, I know it's your baby. I know you probably spent more time working on it than you probably spent with your family.
That's absolutely true.
In the past several months.
In the past year.
Yeah. This stuff doesn't get made. As much as we like to believe this takes 3 months to do. It's long.
Yeah. And then Infinity Ward's been working on it longer than I have. I've been on it
sometimes.
Yes, I have a pillow and blankets.
So this is your baby. If you can do one thing to make it better, like something, even if it was something that got cut out the game, something that you say, you know what, if I can go back to the drawing board and fight to get that in, what would it be?
That's a tough question.
Or even if it's something that you thought of late in the game to say, like, you know what, man, we should have put
Yeah,
this
but I
in
don't
earlier.
have. I don't have those issues because we're gonna have some. I can't answer that one.
Well, Gail, you've been a good sport about this. I want to thank you so much for your time. I know you're probably hungry or thirsty.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let you go. But thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate having you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.